वही स्टार्ट करेंगे, है ना।
Greetings from Sri Balaji Vidyapeeth, deemed to be University in Pondicherry. A warm welcome to our unique webinar series SBV CONNEcT that has come into due existence our Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor S.C. Parinja. Well, the topic chosen for the day is very interesting, it's very relevant, and the integration of information and communication technology in online medical education, with the focus being duly laid on the national and international perspectives. And we have got four eminent personalities amidst us who are going to provide greater insight into various facets of online medical education. We are really honored by the presence Professor V.P. Mishraji, the Honorable Pro-Chancellor of Datamega Institute of Medical Sciences, deemed to University, Varda, Professor P.V. Vijayaraman, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Sri Ramachandra Institute of Higher Education Research, Porur, Chennai, Professor Vaishna Nadaraja, who is actually the Pro-Chancellor of Medical Education there at the International University of Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, and our host, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Sri Balaji Vidyapeeth, Professor S.C. Parinja. Maybe it is in the fitness of things to state now that in this era of the millennium, especially when there is artificial intelligence and Internet of Things, due emphasis has to be essentially laid on the role of information and communication technology. And I'm quite sure that you'll all agree with me that information technology in nexus or in combination with effective communication skills would in fact hold the key to success. And it would not be an exaggeration to state, and it's quite the fitness of things to state, that ICT can be regarded as a panacea for all times, more so in the wake of the pandemic. And I'm quite sure with the human efforts that are going to be put by our learner resource speakers and also the presence of the discerning participants here, we are going to be provided greater insight into several facets of online medical education. I am quite sure you will all agree with me that you will romp home with greater knowledge, thanks actually to the insight going to be provided at the end of the webinar. On this note, and without further ado, I just invite the Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor of Sri Balaji Vidyapeeth, Professor S.C. Parinja, to take us through the first session, which is going to be a very interesting session indeed. The integration of information and communication technology in online medical education, national perspectives. In fact, it is not an exaggeration to state here, not out of place to state, that at the behest of our Honorable Vice Chancellor, a lot of key and noted initiatives have been taken up here pertaining to the implementation of online teaching, e-learning, and so on. Let's have the pleasure of going through the salient features of Professor S.C. Parinja. The biodata for all the four personalities incidentally, it is running through several pages. An eminent academician is noted for his erudition in microbiology. He has been a very avid researcher, and he has been putting a lot of insight into the medical education besides his intrinsic capabilities as an able administrator, which he vividly demonstrated during his tenure at Chipmer, where he served with the distinction as director. Prior to joining Sri Balaji Vidyapeeth, he has authored more than 15 books and has got 300 plus research papers in very eminent national and international peer-reviewed journals with high impact factor. And taking cognizance of the erudition of Professor S.C. Parinja, the organization, the world famous organizations, FAO and WHO, appointed him as an expert member to go into the various aspects associated with foodborne parasitic diseases. And he is the founder of the Indian Academy of Tropical Parasitology. He has been conferred with numerous fellowships and honors, to mention a few: FAMS, FICI, FABM, and FIMSA. The jewel in the crown, of course, actually is the B.C. Roy National Award, the prestigious award instituted by MCI, which was conferred on him in the year 2003 for his seminal contributions to the development of medical microbiology in general and parasitology in particular. On this note, let's all welcome Professor S.C. Parinja, the distinguished Vice Chancellor of Sri Balaji Vidyapeeth, Pondicherry, to talk about the national perspectives pertaining to the integration of information and communication technology. Sir.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Professor Srinivasan, our esteemed Registrar of Sri Balaji Vidyapith, SBV. Esteemed Professor Ved Prakash Misra ji, Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor, Datta Mega Institute of Medical Sciences, Wardha, Maharashtra, my good friend, Professor Vijay Raghavan, Vice Chancellor, Sri Ramachandra Institute of Higher Education and Research, Chennai, and our esteemed guest from abroad, from Malaysia, Professor Visna Devi Nadaraj, Pro-Chancellor of International Medical University, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and all dear participants of this wonderful webinar on interesting topic on information, integration of information and communication technology in online medical education, national and international perspectives. It's really an excellent opportunity for me to be among speakers of eminence, medical educationists like Professor Ved Prakash Misra ji, Professor Vijay Raghavan ji, and Professor Visna Devi, who will be sharing their views and opinion on different aspects of integration of ICT in online medical educations. I shall be sharing some of my thoughts on national perspectives. When I do, first I'll briefly introduce the topic, then I'll emphasize the need for ICT in medical education and give some examples of avenues for ICT in medical education in the current scenario, and discuss different modalities of ICT that are being followed currently and what are the challenges one will face to implement integration of ICT in medical educations. And I will supplement some of the evidences for ICT integration in ME that justifies the more and frequent use of ICT in ME. And I'll end my talk giving few examples of our university, Sri Balaji Vidyapith, popularly referred to as SBVs, which is a leader in ICT in ME. What are the initiatives we have started and how we are doing on that. As we know, the world is changing from 20th century to 21st century. Changes taking place everywhere in our environment, in our personal developments, in our professional developments. I remember while I became a MBBS student in 1971 in a premier medical institute in Odisha, SBV Medical College. That time I still remember, as first year, second year, third year final students, we had the opportunity to be taught by eminent teachers, orators, what they used to teach was with the simple help of blackboard and chalk, and sometimes with the help of overhead projectors. And when I completed my MBBS, then I joined my MD and finally joined in Jeep Maharaja faculties till I am here as Vice Chancellor. We have seen a lot of change in the way we are taking the help of audio-visual aids from simple audio slide projectors with the help of slides, permanent slides. In the end of 20th century and the beginning of 21st century, we are in the way PowerPoint and a lot of ICTs technologies. So all this reflects study and practice of environment in medicines that is changing. The way we are taught, the way we are changing, the way we are teaching, and the way we are dealing with the patients. This has been due to many factors, but one of the most important factors that is responsible for study and practice environment in medicine is a rapid development of computer technology and access to personal computers, together with the internet and various medical literature management applications. All these really have revolutionized the entire medical field in the field of learning. And when we think of emergent telecommunications like internet, we cannot imagine our life without internet. Cloud computing, personal digital assistants, smartphones, the media for the future in which all the professional and personal activities are being envisaged to be performed, that is smartphones, tablet computers. Every component has become an integral part of our professional activities. In this context, when we think of ICT, it means it's defined as a range of technology for gathering, storing, retrieving, processing, analyzing, transmitting, and receiving informations. Lot of activities being encompassed. And it deals with three important components of presentation of the data, organization of the data, and above all, integrations of informations, particularly in medical schools in developed countries. They are moving very fast. In last decades, they have invested heavily in ICT. They have invested heavily in ICT in two main areas of interest: to deliver educations, to improve the quality of healthcare services, management, diagnosis, and treatment of these patients. But in contrast to developing countries, still we are lacking behind. Maybe in other fields like engineering, management, somewhere they have adopted this recent ICT technology in complete ways, but in medical sciences, still we have to use most of these skills in the ICT. There are many reasons, because there is inadequate knowledge and skills by the faculties to use ICT effectively. And most important is that we are uninformed about the benefits of using so many technology of ICT. So the most important challenge is that as effective educators, we must be able to capture the attention of today's students, which are digitally savvy students, and be instrumental in helping students learn about telecommunications and other technologies, particularly in the areas of health sciences. So what is the need for ICT in medical educations? There might be many needs, but what we visualize that Graduating clinicians needs to be up to date and flexible with the ability to adapt to a changing healthcare landscape, because that is the most important component. If we train these graduating clinicians, we empower them with these ICT technologies, I think in this 21st century, they will be more competent to deliver by integrating with these ICT technologies. Current circumstances present a unique challenge for educators of healthcare practitioners. Students and graduates need the requisite knowledge, skills, and behavior to practice in a complex healthcare environment that needs the supplementation of this ICT technology with this physical contact management of these patients. So to ensure that future health workers, care providers acquire the requisite ICT knowledge and skills, educational institutions, health sciences institutions, health sciences university should provide an ambience that should provide hands-on technology-based learning opportunity. And their main objectives of facilitation is to have a ICT literacy. It should be considered a mandatory skill in the training of all the physicians. Medical students in countries needs to be sensitized about the fact, and they should be aware of the fact, the importance of ICT and its impact on medical educations, that they have better access to ICT. However, in developing countries, the process of integrating computer technology into medical education still at infancies. And there's a need for a lot of developments to make effective use of this ICT in medical educations. We need to remember that ICT integration is becoming increasingly important because of the move towards the globalization and rapidly advancing medical knowledge. Now, with the physical boundaries has been gradually being delimited, and the entire world, globe is becoming a family in this big world, big globe. ICT's role is much more important and is emerging much more fast. So there are many avenues for ICT in medical educations that has been currently practiced in this 21st century. First and foremost is being patient simulations. Here, that includes standardized patients, that helps the opportunity for the students, for the beginners to update their skills in communications, skills in the management by using the standardized patients that will create opportunity to mimic real-life patient encounters, to address the problem of lack of clinical training sites, and to enhance experience for certain types of patient encounters, and to supplement training where depth and breadth may be lacking. And I am confident use of patient simulations like standardized patients will enhance patient safety. It means before we practice our skills on the patients, we must develop the skills in these standardized patients or simulators like on electronically programmed mannequins, or enhance our quality of communications on a standardized patient encounter in which an actor portrays certain signs or symptoms and adheres to a prescribed script. Education focus should be on providing interprofessional experience that can transform the way students learn and practice with members from other disciplines. This technology like online discussion boards, YK modules, and survey tools are being extensively utilized nowadays to advance interprofessional educations. Training in use of informatics, like to prepare the students to be leaders, innovators, and competent clinicians. They need to have an understanding of the increasingly silent role of informatics, like electronic medical records. And emphasis should be enhancing communication through social media. With the advent of Web 2.0, users are no longer passive participants, but can actively create and contribute to content web-based services and applications such as blogs, wikis, and social networks. Virtual spaces naturally lend themselves as active learning tools in the classroom within a professional curriculum. And so much of avenues, students enrolled in health professional programs must be able to view the use of social media through a new lens, as well as garner an appreciation for new future patients, consumers, and colleagues employ those components. And promoting information literacy should be the mainstay. This should include emphasis on best practices in healthcare that depends on accessing and synthesizing a vast body of health-related literatures and applying the results to the care of the patients. We must prepare the students to be lifelong learners who can sift through vast informations to efficiently identify, locate, analyze, and use high-quality information sources. There are different modalities of ICT in medical educations. To give you examples that include illustrations, use of students' polling activities, quiz, and video conferencing in the use of webinars and group collaborations, fosters interactions and connectivities. Tools such as Skype, FaceTime, real-time chatting, we must be more well aware of, more frequently using, that will allow healthcare professionals in education and in practice to connect readily and at a distance. We must look for, explore free or low-cost technology tools such as Doodle and free conference facilitate that collaboration regardless of locations. And online content delivery is no longer a foreign concept in healthcare professional educations. And the use of learning management system now is becoming a mainstay of course organization program in many institutions, university like ours. And MOOC is an open source online course that is a journal hosted by an established leader in higher education and online learning, is proving a valuable source of information in health sciences. But there are many challenges we have to accept. One is to prepare future physicians to face internet-savvy patients. Now all of us will be experiencing many patients who visit hospital or come for discussion for professional services. They sometimes appear to know more about their diseases than their physicians because of their internet search. We must emphasize the importance to raise awareness among physicians in training, the benefits of using ICT to improve the quality of interventions and healthcare delivery, and subsequently the organization of the healthcare systems. We must motivate medical students and practitioners to use ICT to find information, learn, and develop. And more important, we must be catalyst to change medical teaching practices. The plethora of informations available on the web is overwhelming. Students there get confused. Learners, they get confused with overwhelming information, both on the quality, both on the dependabilities. Hence, both students and staff need to be taught how to manage it effectively to their own advantage. Medical schools must develop clear strategies to address the issues raised by these technologies. I'll present some evidences for integration of ICT in medical education. Empirical evidences support the potential of ICT to introduce students to advanced graphical representations. It also supports, the studies also stress the importance of prior knowledge and the need for real-life tactile and practical experiences. The number of studies focusing on the impact of ICT on information organization is less, but definitely the results that are available suggest a positive impact on student attitudes and relevant learning gains. Students' studies focusing on the impact of ICT on information integration highlights the positive impact of ICT-based assessment and computer simulations. Research results support the positive impact of ICT-based collaboration, but care has to be taken when skill development is being pursued. Research development focus on the repositories of learning materials for medical education have yet not been evaluated. Their usefulness, their extent of usefulness among the faculty and students needs thorough evaluations. There is an urgent need for more high-quality research, especially in the promising field of ICT-based collaborative learnings. I just like to give you examples of SBV initiatives with regard to ICT in medical education. Our universities had always been a leader and early adopter of ICT for enhancement of our curriculum delivery, assessment, and quality assurance. Our organized response to COVID-19, the pandemic, by campus lockdown was an exercise in evidence-based decision-making and implementations. We have developed a indigenous canvas, Ganesha's canvas, which is a developed learning platform and learning management systems. This has been effectively implemented due to the concerted effort of our medical education unit and medical informatics. In this, we have to give you examples like some models we have been teaching with Ganesh Canvas with active supports of students and faculties. Again, we have initiated a lecture capturing system, which also another successful endeavor being prioritized for last few years. Implementation of ICT in assessment of medical students can be quite challenging. The examination wing of SBV has implemented a safe and secure process of digitization as exemplified by a fortified online examination management system. We have successfully implemented e-portfolios of our PG students. This is a prototype example of the application of ICT in medical education. This e-portfolios allows various activities of a postgraduate students they perform in their curriculum, in the career of 3 years, including thesis writings, including EPA progress, daily log, patient care records, and their outreach and awareness programs. And all these things can be accessed, monitored at any time. And in dissertations about their different aspects, like dissertation protocols, dissertation progress, review meetings, and manuscripts. All these things are being carried out on this unique e-portfolio systems. Using a combination of a big blue button and Zoom platforms with recent security updates, we have ensured that COVID-19 has a minimal impact on the continuity of education in all our SBV students over the last few months. We have successfully conducted online classes for all our SBV students using the virtual meetings and video conferencing applications. Apart from ICT in medical education, SBV has extensively used ICT to fortify and maintain faculty development programs. And we have successfully completed 15 faculty development programs on various topics for enhancement of the quality assurance of these our faculties. Over the last few months, SBV has successfully used ICT to conduct several webinars and FDPs using virtual meeting platforms. Thus, SBV has been able to ensure continuity of educations and training for almost all our courses and programs with the help of ICT. To conclude, integration of ICT in medical education and training in health science institutions is the need of hour. We must accept that this ICT will play a bigger role in medical educations in supplementing the quality of medical education to our students. This ICT will enable future physicians to be better prepared to face patients in the digital age globally. And getting accustomed to digital application is of primary importance for any aspiring physicians. We at SBV believe that institutions, universities across the country in health sciences have a very important role to sensitize and make aware the students, faculties, all the staffs, including supporting staffs, in this importance of ICT in medical education and curriculum and the benefits they give it. To successfully implement it, we must put emphasis of training the trainers and subsequently training the students. I'm confident if we move forward in these directions, we must have a good pathway to see the fruitful integration of ICT with medical educations. I must thank all of you for your patience hearing. And again, I thank my colleagues and my friends, Professor Ved Prakash Misra ji, Professor Vijay Raghavan ji, and Professor Visna Devi ji, for making them available to share their views on different aspects of this interesting topic. I find it, we are fortunate to have all these academicians, eminent in their field, and great orators. I'm confident they will have different perspectives on these aspects which they're going to share with you after this time. Thank you. Thank you very much with me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. That was actually invigorating and comprehensive, lucid presentation as well. You have literally taken us on a sojourn on the national perspectives. And particularly, actually, I was fascinated with the 3 points that you enumerated, sir, if I am allowed to tell. One, actually, is the complex healthcare professional system that is in place. Second thing, not to be over-exuberant in implementing that because of the confusion that it can create amongst those people who deliver ICT as well as those who receive. And third one, I'm very happy that we are all a small part of the endeavor that has taken place at your behest, namely the leadership role of SBV in promulgating a lot of digital initiatives. Thank you, sir, once again. Now we'll move on to the next session by Honorable Vice Chancellor of Sri Ramachandra Institute of Higher Education Research, Professor P.V. Vijay Raghavan.